Raise a glass, you've made it another year. Happy birthday, have a laugh, crack a smile, even shed a tear. Because it's your birthday. Pop the cork, pour the flute, make a wish, and don't forget to count the candles. Now we celebrate with cheers. Raise your glass to another year. Raise your glass, it's time to have some fun. Happy birthday, yellow cake for another trip around the sun. Because it's your birthday. Coffee or tea, cream and sugar. Is it time to open presents? Friends and loved ones gather near. Raise your glass to another year. Years may come and years may go, but the sun will rise again tomorrow. Raise your glass, I think we've had too much to drink. Happy birthday, one day you're young, and then they say you're aged like wine or tan as leather. Now we face our greatest fear. Raise your glass to another year. Friends and loved ones gathered in. Raise your glass to another year.
Everything is twofold. What's joy is pain on the other hand. And what happens when the one that you love is the main cause of your suffering? I need you like I need air to breathe. I need you to save me from me. I'm caught in your wave, I'm drifting away. I need you to save me. Please don't let me drown. Please don't let me drown.
Please don't let me drown.
Please
Please don't let me drown. Please don't let me drown. Where did my chat go? Lost my chat window. Oh, there it is. There's my controller. There's my controller. Is it Friday?
My perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe. With all of this darkness surrounding, you need me like you need air to breathe.
Mikey Fishy, first to the chat. Zombie drummer and playback. Wowie zowie.
Know that you'll try this way. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from me? I can't see you drown. 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 Whoa. Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe.
Oh, we talking about UFOs today?
My perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe. It's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. I can't breathe. I need to get some air, but it's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. You can't breathe and you just need some air. Give me all of your
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you out there. What are you doing out there? What are you doing out there? What's going on, everybody? How's it going? It's a lovely Friday out there. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. High CPU usage detected. You may experience performance issues. I don't know. I think we have too many applications open. Probably too many things going on. Let's close some programs here real quick. Okay, there we go. We just closed some stuff. Whoop. Okay. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat real quick. Mikey Fishy, Zombie Drummer, Pipex, Michael Sarr, Alyssa Bentley, Paula Kreinberg. Now I got to read down. Joel G, all the way from New Zealand. It's Nature, man. Mary Page Flynn. Mikey Fishy, Big D Smoke, hey, hi, Aquaman, J. Rocks does stuff. Okay, yeah, there we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? I always miss people's names, and I feel bad, but you know how it is. Chevy Fish, I miss Chevy Fish. I got it, though. Then I said it. Acknowledged. Human being acknowledged. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Friday. It has been a mind-bending Friday for yours truly out here. All plans of mice and men. All plans of mice and men canceled today. Canceled. All of the plans of mice and men today were canceled. That means me specifically. Everything I wanted to get done today did not get done. Literally spent the last 7 hours at the car dealership working out a deal. Ugh, nightmare fuel, I'm telling you guys. It is nightmare fuel buying a vehicle these days. I will tell you, it is just nuts out there. The pandemic has supposedly created a shortage in vehicles. It's created a weirdness in the market. It's it's all crazy. Everything's nuts. And hopefully we'll be able to announce to you next week that we have a new truck for hauling with the trailer stuff. Hopefully. We shall see. Hopefully it'll be a brand new 2017. A brand new 2017. You know how it is. It's brand new. It's 2017. And you're in 2021. You know how that goes. Just a Ford pickup truck that's tow ready, that's got all the tow stuff, non-heated seats, cloth seats, none of the razzle dazzle. I don't even know if it has. I don't even think it has GPS in it. Just a truck for towing. You know, got to tow trailers around. That's how it's gonna be. So we got to get it done. I was planning on towing one of our trailers with my old Ford, and while I think it could do it, it's realistically just going to be a nightmare scenario where my old Ford is going to end up breaking down, and then I was going to end up with just a broken down truck. So what I'm going to do is just continue to use my old Explorer for commuting purposes, to commute and put all the miles on it. As you guys know, my old Explorer got crashed into by a hit and run. I don't know why he hit me. I don't know why he ran. We don't know. Nobody knows why that happened. But it did. Needless to say, that happened. And I replaced it with the same truck. I replaced it with just the same vehicle, a 98. And then when I bought that truck, it had 100,000 miles on it. And now my Explorer has 160,000 miles on it. So it gives you an idea how much the commuting miles have piled up on that truck in the short period of time since my other truck got crashed into. My other truck got totaled. My other truck, they said, there's too much damage. There's too much damage to this truck. So they eventually cut me the smallest check you've ever seen for a replacement vehicle, but I made it work. Found a truck for that price. Got it. I've already put 60,000 miles on it. So, well, not 60, like 52. Or no, not 52. Can I math? Yeah, 54. Let's just say 54,000 miles on it already. So the last thing I want to do is buy a truck for towing and then just put a bunch of miles on it driving back and forth to work. So we're just going to continue to drive the Explorer until the wheels fall off. Then, yeah. It's nature, man. Since I got me a new truck today, that's why I'm having such a nice day. Got rid of my old rusty 2003 S10 and got a 2011 Silverado. I like that. That's nice. I was looking at a 2019, but it didn't quite have the towing capacity that I was looking for. And it was like that smoke gunmetal color. I don't know, which is a really cool color and everything, but it didn't quite have all the towing set up in it that I wanted. And it didn't have a V8. It had that the 2.7 liter V6. I needed a V8 realistically if I'm going to be towing stuff over mountain passes and stuff like that. I guess maybe you guys on the East Coast don't really know what it's like to drive over a real mountain pass. But you know, when you get up to like 8,000 feet and stuff like that, you know, turbos don't work that well, that kind of stuff. And I got to go over a lot of that crap. Even 5,000 feet. Even 5,000 feet, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, like I said, you East Coast people, you don't even know what it's like to go over a real mountain. And don't get mad at me about that. That's just your geographical constraints. That's not my fault that you live where it's flat. That's not my fault. But I think if I lived in like Missouri or something where I'm pretty much going on flat ground all the time, I probably wouldn't be that concerned about it. But, you know, there's mountains in the way of everywhere. There's mountains in the way of everywhere I'm going to go. North, south, east, west, doesn't matter. There's either a giant body of water or a giant mountain range in the way. So, got to take that into consideration, you know? It's Nature Man lives in the West Virginia. I live in West Virginia. I know about mountains. What's the highest mountain? Let's look that up. Highest mountain in West Virginia. I mean, I know that it's like really hilly out there. Oh, that's not bad. That's maybe like the highest mountain on the East Coast. The North Mountain at 50 5,400 feet. The Bald Knob is 4,800 feet. Yeah, our passes are at like 4,800 feet. And then the mountains go way up past that. That's like the low point to get through. Let's see. North Mountain. Let's see, we'll get a little readout here. There's a mountain ridge within the Ridge Valley Appalachians. That is one thing I do want to do in my life is the Appalachian Trail. I do want to go do the Appalachian Trail someday. So maybe when I do that, we could meet up and hang out. Go to one of those pit stops and you can receive a food package for me or something. That'd be cool. I should probably start to get to know a lot more people along the Appalachian Trail so then I can have pit stops along the trail. That'd be pretty good. Aquaman's in Colorado. Yeah, I tell you, Colorado, like one of the peaks we were going over was 11,000 feet. No, 13,000 feet. We were up at the top there. We pulled off on the side of the road, and it's like, yeah, we're way up, dude. Mount Washington. Mount Washington. That makes sense. You'd name it after Washington because, I'm in Washington. 6,200 feet. Look at that. It's even got snow on it. Let's see. Mount Washington, among the coldest places on the planet. Oh, okay. Look at that. Mount Washington is one of the coldest places on the planet. That's wild. I didn't know that. We've learned something today. Mount Washington, among one of the coldest places on the planet. I don't know if that's true, but we'll have to look it up to see what's going on. Let's see. Oh, there's some kind of weird round trip you could do there. Mount Washington and New Hampshire. That looks like fun. I'd like to go on that. Yeah. But how is everybody doing today? Did anybody sound off in the chat to let me know how you're doing, if things are doing good? I think the only person that let me know is It's Nature Man. He bought a new truck today. He's like me. He bought a brand new 2011. We're gonna buy a brand new 2017. I think it has like 50,000 miles on it or something. I don't know. Decent mileage. Zombie Drummer says, I'm always the last owner of my vehicles. Just got a brand new 2012 E250 with 25,000 on it. Hoping to have this beast for a long time. That's right. Zombie Drummer did get a new van for his dogs. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Ryan is in an extreme good shape. He's a professional, what do you call that? I mean, it's what Ryan does is not really like a dog walker. He like takes the dogs out on nature extravaganzas. You know what I mean? My dogs are getting a little bit old for it, but if Ryan, Zombie Drummer, right? I don't mean to. Oh no, I've doxed Ryan. Okay. The Zombie Drummer, if he was in my area and my dogs were a little bit younger, I think I would definitely have him take the dogs out for a run every once in a while. I mean, I don't know if I'd do it every day, because then your dog's on the weekend to be a little wound up. You know what I mean? It's Nature Man says, I'm ready to come out to Washington. My dad and brother live out there. I could recommend it. It's a nice part of the world to live in. I've been to lots of parts of the world, and Washington's pretty dope. I will tell you, 100%. Haven't been around in a while. How have you been? I've been all right. How have you been? How I've been doing is documented, yo. How you doing? Hey, man, how you doing? What's going on there? One of my old timers needs a stroller thing. That's right. Sometimes you got a pug, and they need to rock that stroller action. You know what I'm talking about? Ooh, Zombie Drummer also does a senior hike for the old doggies. Okay, see, now there you go. That's what you call good business right there. Like if you got those good what do you call it? Business practices. If you have good business practices, you do stuff like that. Like you make options. Like hey, my dog's old. They can't do 16 miles. You know what I mean? Like they can't be doing that today. You know, they gotta smell some roses and chill, not get out in the hot sun. One of the hikes that we took Biddy and Chips on, we out hiked the dogs. I don't know if you've ever had that happen before. They were just like, nah, we're not going any further. We just don't want to do that anymore. They're like, hey man, we're too old and you can't make us go. We're just gonna chill here. I had to pick up and carry both dogs back, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but they're both like 20. I think Biddy's like 25 pounds and Chips is like 20, and so it's shy of a pack, and I don't know if I was in pack carrying shape at that point in time, which I do have to get back into pack carrying shape. I don't know. I was doing a ton of mileage early in the year. I think I was doing about, what was I doing? So I think I was doing, what was I doing at that point? I was doing 7 miles a day. So whatever that is, about 200 miles a month. And I was doing pretty good with that, but I had to take a break. I had to take a break because I was losing sleep. I was working out too much and losing sleep. I don't know if you've ever been down that road, but I was legit just losing sleep because I'd be out hiking around my stupid neighborhood, Let's see. Mike Kirkpatrick says that's what we did. We got a 2017 with 56,000 miles. The tech in this generation of vehicles is amazing. That's true. That is true. I tell you, I drive around a 1998, which seems technologically advanced to me as far as being the owner of a vehicle, right? A lot of the vehicles I owned before that were much older. Like I drove a 56 around for a long, long time. Then I drove a. I'm trying to remember what year. I think I had like this little. I had a little red. Was it a Mazda? I think it was a Mazda pickup. I think that was a 90. I think that thing was a 90. Maybe an 89. It might have been an 89. I'm not sure. But I drove that thing around for years amongst a bunch of other cars. And, the 98, it feels like that's the amount of technology you need in a vehicle. And it's kind of crazy to get into something that's 20 years newer and be like, oh, all the buttons work. What's with all these buttons? Buttons are happening. And it's literally like you got a speedometer, but it's also giving you a readout of how fast you're going and how many miles per gallon you're burning by driving like regular or not, So that stuff was all, that's like the real revelation of like, wow, this is just so much better than my current vehicle. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention, like the car dealership was trying to pull some shenanigans on your boy here, but I don't fall for shenanigans all that often, especially when it comes to purchasing something. I mean, it does happen to me every once in a while. I'll tell you that much. That has happened. I'm not 100% batting average or anything like that, but he was like, hey, check out this truck over here. We went over to look at a truck, and it's like there's something weird about why they would want to sell this truck to me so fast. There's dings in the windshield. There's things going on here. Look over. Oh, this truck is from Kansas. Oh, okay, so you just got this one in from Kansas. Go around, look under it. Like, oh my God, it's like a 2019 that's already got rust in it. It just all these like weird little issues from a truck that's just been beat up in like a 2-year period. It's just totally wild how something could be just that. Just a vehicle could be in that shape in just that short amount of time. But it just goes to show you, Kansas will ruin your vehicle. You know what I mean? So you don't want to end up with a ruined vehicle going like, well, I'm in Washington, but I ended up with a Kansas truck that's all rotten and fallen apart after a short period of time. Is I think what it was is it looked like they were using it as a fuel run truck, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They put a big giant fuel tank in the back of a pickup truck that has like a, it's got a fuel schnozzle on it, and they drive all around and fuel up all the other stuff. That's what it looked like, because there was bolt holes in the bed where bolts were. Somebody had unbolted, and there was like the depression of where the fuel tank was sitting in the back of the truck, and it just had like all of the signs of like, yeah, don't get into this basket case that's already got rust in it, and in like no time at all, and something that's that rusty after such a short period of time, you're just gonna have problems for sure. Chevy Fish doing good as long as my Wi-Fi is working. Has gone in and out for the last 2 weeks. No warnings or anything. Enjoying it working for the moment. Yeah, dude, that sucks, man. I hate it when the Wi-Fi goes down. That has happened a few times. I actually had to troubleshoot some Wi-Fi stuff earlier this week for work, and happy to say we came out on top. Seems that things are running at the speeds that they're supposed to be running. So that's good. That's good. We had a victory. We had a soft victory, I'd like to call it. It's not like we installed new internet or anything like that. We just legit troubleshot the some of the issues that were happening, and now it's running at super speeds. So maybe I just kind of pulled the roadblocks out of the way of the old Wi-Fi there and got it working. The dealerships are playing games, but I found a private seller that had what I was looking for. Yeah, the dealerships are pretty much always playing games, but we obviously we're going to have to finance a portion of the purchase. Like, it's just kind of the deal. So I think the thing is, like, if we had all that cash or something like that, then we probably would have found a private seller. But the unfortunate reality is, like, there's just not a lot of people selling vehicles right now. There's just, you literally go on Craigslist, whatever, all the car buying sites that are not sponsors of this show, so I don't really need to be pointing them out and advertising them for free. But you go on a lot of those sites, there just ain't a lot of inventory out there. There's just not a lot of stuff being sold by people at this point in time, which kind of makes sense as we kind of come out of mass hibernation, the planet-wide hibernation that we're under, where people aren't really selling stuff; they're kind of buying stuff. Turns out, a lot of people actually doing pretty well after the pandemic. A lot of money has kind of funneled into the middle class, especially people that are like working from home and not spending all that money that they needed to spend to be working from an office and all those things. So very interesting stuff, mildly interesting stuff. We did talk last week about people not going back to work because the air quote government is paying them to go back. And I have to say, I wasn't that flush on exactly the situation as far as the unemployment and that kind of stuff was going. And it turns out, yes, the unemployment is being kicked in by the federal side and the state side, depending on what state you're in. A lot of the regulation has continued to pay people unemployment. But one of the interesting things about it is that I don't know how people out there generally view their employment situation. And I'm not really 100% how people relate to their employment. And I think it boils down to like 3 different categories, and one of them applies at the more lower echelons, right? So people being paid a small amount of money to work are sort of fall into the category of, I have to go to work to survive, otherwise I end homeless, hungry, have no food, and that kind of stuff. And then I think there's the middle people, right? That whole big swath of middle class, whatever you want to call it, even though it is definitely shrinking and whatnot. I think the middle class definitely falls into the category of, I do a job that I'm trying to advance their life goals or something like that, right? And I think that there's a huge swath of people that are trying to incrementally improve their lives and their existence and whatnot by working a job that is kind of fulfilling that space right in the middle, right? I mean, if you're making $70,000 a year, it's probably enough to like save a little money, put a little into your retirement. Most of your bills are probably going to be paid. Most things are going to be handled, blah blah blah, and you're going to be doing pretty okay. And I think most of the people in that middle area are sort of working to try and incrementally improve. You know, maybe you're building a savings account, maybe you're investing a little bit of money, this and that and the other thing. And then I think that there's the third category, which I think applies on both ends. Like all the way at the $0 end and then all the way up at the $3 million a year end, right? Is that the attitude towards work is you're going to exclusively do whatever it is that you want to do, right? Whether it be you want to improve your life, your skill set, your financial situation, all that kind of stuff, I think lands on the two extreme ends. And that is you're just doing what you want to do, right? And I think what's happening right now is that there are a lot of people at the bottom end there. Like the zero number has expanded, right? So the zero number has expanded up to like, I mean, if we do a little bit of math, like 15,000 a year or something like that. And those people are trying to figure out if they can do I want to do the thing that I want to do, and that be the whole point of working, right? I think that's what's happening right now. If I had to give my like really basic verbal breakdown of kind of the things that are happening right now, is that I'm doing the thing that I want to do is bleeding up from the bottom of the perspective of the employee, right? Is that I think that $0 amount of those people that just work because they're just doing what they love and they don't even care if they're making $0. You know who I'm talking about. There's somebody in your life that's like that. There's somebody that it's just tinkering around with something in their yard all the time, and they never really seem to have like a whole lot of, maybe they're working on a little art project. Maybe they're doing this. Maybe they're doing that. I think we all know some people like that. We all have an example of a person like that. But I think what's happened is that I think that $0 person of going like, I'm just going to do what I want to do has expanded. And companies are seeing an issue with having less of those people to come do menial tasks at their company. I think that's what's happening. Whether I'm accurate or not, I think that's what's going on. I think they're just having a smaller slice of the people that are like working because they have to work, otherwise they'll have to live outside underneath a bridge or something like that. I think that's what's happening. Am Cloescent says the big money is in social influencing. No. Media companies and stuff like that would like to convince you that that's the case because of like these really small edge case, the really small edge cases out there, right? Let's take a long-standing social influencer. Let's take like Brad Pitt, right? Brad Pitt has been in 50 movies. He's been on a bunch of TV shows. He does a bunch of stuff. Things that he acts in socially influence. He's a social influencer, right? He's an actor. He doesn't write stuff. He doesn't do stuff. He just plays a part in the movies and TV and things that he's in, right? Now, media companies out there would like to accidentally convince, or not accidentally convince you. They would like you to be accidentally convinced that those are the people making a lot of money. And those aren't the people making a lot of money. Yes, they do make a lot of money in comparison to us, but they don't make a lot of money in comparison to, who's that? Oh, the business owner, right? So if you're talking about like an NBA player, right? NBA players make a bunch of money. We go like, oh, wow, those guys make $10 million a year. Oh, my God, that guy's so rich. That guy's like amazingly rich. All right, well, who owns the team that they play for, and how much money are we talking about with that situation, right? It's like Paul Allen and the Seahawks. It's like Russell Wilson, sure, he makes a ton of money, but the Seahawks organization makes all the money, and who owns the Seahawks organization? Now, I understand that Paul Allen has passed away, but the Paul Allen family owns the Seahawks, right? Who makes all that money? They make all that money, right? So when they say like social influencers and stuff like that and actors and things make all the money, it's because they don't want you to actually pay attention to how much the actual corporate entities are making and things like that, or just how many media companies are all conglomerated together. I know recently one of the stories I was looking at was, sort of how like a good example would be like Fox News, the company that owns Fox News, owns the New York Post, right? And so the New York Post will put out some kind of crazy story, and then Fox News will report on that the New York Post put out this story, not us. We're just reporting on the New York Post put out the story. So the pincushion, the whoopee cushion, the whatever is the New York Post having put up this crazy story. And we're just covering the fact that was in the New York Post. And it's like, yeah, but you're all the same company, right? So that's the same kind of thing right there, right? You see how they can easily manipulate and go like, oh, well, I'm not saying this is the news. I'm just covering the fact that was in a news thing, right? And then it eventually just becomes like, oh, that's real now, because so many places are covering it. Amcloescent has a good point here. Elon Musk makes $88 million a night while asleep. There you go. There you go. That's it right there. Like, they want you to think about Jake Paul or somebody or whatever, or the Kardashians or something like that, because they're making a bunch of money. And yes, they are making a bunch of money. It's true. But in comparison to these like outrageously skewed numbers from the ownership groups and stuff like that, that's really the kind of thing that you want to talk about. Alyssa Bentley at Richard McCarthy. I always think of it like a live radio show, and I miss my old radio shows I used to listen to. Yeah, my show here is a lot like a radio show. I definitely do. I definitely do just kind of talk about whatever's going on. I had a topic today, and I was going to get my examples together earlier, and I had to just be at the car dealership all morning. And I do have to admit, I am kind of jealous of those people that can just cash buy a truck and they don't have to like do the paperwork and all this crazy haggling and all the nonsense to deal with and stuff. It's just a lot. There's a lot to deal with. I literally am exhausted from it. I just am exhausted. I do not enjoy that process at all. Woo, it's a mess. I don't like it. Northwest Aqua Hobby. Afternoon. How you doing? Freshwater Ichthyology is here. What's going on? Good to see you. We got to figure out a talk at some point in time. I know that Freshwater Ichthyology wanted to talk about some stuff, and we're gonna iron that out at some point. Mainstream media are realizing that the big stars don't need what traditional media offers them anymore. Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, like I remember somebody was telling me that like a sign of corruption within our government was clearly because what's her name? Hillary Clinton, right? Which I don't really care about Hillary Clinton, but their point is that Hillary Clinton gets paid a lot of money to do speaking engagements, right? And I was like, how much does she get paid to do speaking engagements? So it was like, oh, it's like $250,000 to come give a speaking engagement, right? And the funny thing is, I was like, okay, cool. How much does it cost to get Robert Downey Jr. to come be Iron Man at your convention? If you want Robert Downey Jr. to come for a day to your convention and be Aquaman, right? Or just be Robert Downey Jr. He doesn't even have to be anything. He just needs to be himself. Just Iron Man is here, right? It's $12 million to get him to come for one day. If you want him to come for the whole weekend, it was like $25 million. I was like, I guess he must be corrupt then. I guess by that metric, Robert Downey Jr. must be super corrupt because he gets paid a lot to do public appearances. And they were like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. And I was like, I think it kind of does, because your one example was like these speaking engagements, right? And I think a lot of that boils down to, it's because that's what Joe Rogan talks about. It's like Joe Rogan talks about the speaking engagements. These people go out and they talk to bankers and they get paid all this money. And it's like, yeah. By the way, does Joe Rogan get paid for his speaking engagements when he goes out to talk to people in Florida? When he flies out to Florida to go talk to people, does he do his comedy for free? That would be my question. My question would be like, does Joe Rogan do free comedy nights where everybody just gets to come for free, do a free show? He flies out there. It's a charity thing where he just pays all of his first class airfare and his and his hotel and everything. He just pays for it himself. Yeah. We could imagine. Though. Ray Perrette says, what have the Kardashians given back to society? At least Elon is making technology advancements. Elon is arguably not making technological advancements. He's actually stifling a lot of technological advancements. I would encourage you to do some research into Elon Musk. But most of the things that he's doing already exist. Like, let's see, like the boring tunnel project that he did. It's literally somebody driving a car in a tunnel, which, A, we already have tunnels that cars drive in, and B, we already have a subway that's a train that have a bunch of people that travel around much more efficiently than everyone having to drive a Tesla underground, which you also have to pay a driver to drive the Tesla underground and drive around, right? Because that's how that whole project works. Yeah. Ray Perrette says, at Richard, what do you suggest the rich do? Just give their money to people who have done nothing to contribute. Ah, very interesting. That's a good point. By what metric do we qualify whether or not somebody has contributed to society, right? How do we qualify and quantify whether or not somebody has contributed to society? How do we do that? Do we qualify their labor? Have they worked on something? Because I often hear people like, why would we pay teenagers to flip burgers? Which, I don't know if most people are familiar with like the labor laws, but like if we're talking about teenagers, like 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds, you can pay them less than minimum wage already. That's already the law. You can pay them a lower rate. And 16 and 17-year-olds arguably shouldn't be the reliance of a workforce, because they should, I don't know, be in school so that they could potentially contribute to our society in a more, I don't know, let's see, what's the word we're looking for here? In a more educated manner, right? To be able to have, I don't know, stronger thought processes when they come into the workforce and stuff like that. Like, I don't think that 16 and 17-year-olds should be working a full-time job and be worried about what their level of income is. And in fact, if you were to ask me on my personal level, I would say that I don't think that 16 and 17-year-olds should be working per se. Because I could say from my own experience when I was 16 and 17 years old, working a lot around adults, I had to deal with a whole lot of adult situations that may or may not been realized by those people that I actually was 16 and 17 years old. I will tell you this much: if you happen to have a 16 or 17-year-old, would you like them to go hang out with a bunch of mechanics all day, or a bunch of like oil field workers, or a bunch of construction workers, or even weirder, like a bunch of people working at a restaurant? It's just not exactly like an environment that I believe, from my own personal experience and the experience of others, should really be 100% working in an adult work environment. Should 17-year-olds be driving heavy equipment around, or I don't know, walking around heavy equipment all the time? Yeah. Amcluescent says, what's the best open top tool bag? I actually prefer, let me see if they have a link on Amazon. I can answer this question actually pretty quickly because I actually had to buy one a little while recently. Let's see. We shall call it the Husky tool bag with handle, I think is what it's called. I don't know. Let's see. So we want an open top bag with yeah, it's like the first one. It's like the first one that popped up. Look at that. This seems a little expensive. I only paid I have to tell you, I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you click this link and you go over to Amazon and then you buy $1 billion worth of stuff, I'll make a small commission off of it. But this style of bag right here is what you want. Like, this one's pretty expensive. I bought mine for this. I bought this exact bag, but it was $28, I think. The other day, I think this is some kind of weird Amazon jacked up price for some reason because it's on Amazon. I don't know why, but I literally bought a couple of these for $28, like, I don't know, a month ago, 3 weeks, a month ago, because some of my old bags had given out and I needed to kind of organize a little bit. But you want this hard handle, you want this hard metal handle over the top, you want rigid sides, and then you want the pockets where everything can go in and you can keep it organized, and then larger tools can sit inside the bag, and you have that heavy-duty handle for carrying it around. That's going to be the best bet for you. And most everything will sit in there vertically, so you can identify it from above when you're needing to access whatever tools it is from the bag. They can sit in there vertically, and you can go like, oh, that's the handle for that. Oh, that's my Phillips 2. That's my square. That's my this. That's whatever. You know, you can grab all the stuff out that you need. And when buying a tool bag, most people out there will say, buy a real big tool bag because I could put all my tools in this one bag. And I'll tell you this much. If you put 300 pounds of tools in a bag, then try to pick it up and move it around. Can I physically pick it up and move it around? Yes. It is wildly uncomfortable, though, and you have a good chance of hurting your back, getting a slip disc. You get a slip disc on a Tuesday, and you got the rest of the week still lifting heavy stuff. You know what I mean? It's a problem. It's a problem. Richard McCarthy, plus, as Corvus is saying, look at money to the poor as investments, the next generation of taxable income. Yeah, that's actually my big reasoning behind ever having any of these kinds of conversations is that to me, it's not a matter of like, wow, we need to just give a bunch of stuff to non-contributing people in society. Because first of all, most people will rarely actually qualify that statement. They'll rarely ever tell you the reality of what they're trying to say. More often than not, you'll run into certain people that will sort of denigrate young people or minimum wage workers or that kind of thing, and then just be like, I don't know why I should pay a college kid to work at the place because I don't want to give them more money. It's like, okay, well then don't hire them if they're not qualified to do the job that you need them to do. Like that should be the qualification right there. It's like, are you qualified to work here? Yes, and we want them to work here. Cool. And then you go like, but I only want to pay you $3 an hour. Well, then I guess you don't have a job. I guess you're not offering a job. You're offering somebody to come do something for you for free or whatever. Like they're there to volunteer. Or is it a reverse internship? Like a reverse internship where they pay to work there, right? So they could have experience and hopefully get a good job some other time. But the main reason that I bring this kind of stuff up is because it's a matter of applying our own value system to the society that we live in. I want people to be able to go to school. I want people to get more educated. I want people to be able to get more educated. I want the availability for those things to exist. And we aren't going to get there. We aren't going to get to that point unless we have big enough programs to do it. We're talking about 350 million people in the United States. We're talking about close to 8 billion people in the world. We're not going to get there unless we have big programs to do it. And if we have tiny little microscopic programs, a couple of people will get into it, and that's just not going to work out for the future of 8 billion people. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of people's opinion, it's not really an opinion like how many people are on the planet. You know what I mean? And I know that somebody a while ago told me, I was like, well, because we're overpopulated. And I just was like, how do you make that? How do you make that assessment? And by the way, if we're overpopulated, which ones do you want to get rid of, right? I'm not making that decision for anybody. That sounds like some real insane, crazy stuff from the 1940s that I would have nothing to do with. Michael Sartre says, sadly, most of the jobs available are in retail. That's right. 80% of the jobs or something like that in the United States are service-based. So it's wild. In the United States, it's mostly just services and things like that, which is just, and retail. And it's just like, this is most of the jobs that are in the United States. Sucks when I see a former university student working retail because they can't find a job in their major. That's right. We want to advance those positions for people that are getting educated. We want to expand those jobs. We don't want to continue to expand McDonald's. You may want it, but there are people who do not want to go to school, college, university, and are happy for others to pay for their existence. Okay, Ray, I don't know who these people are, okay? I don't know who they are. I know that you are speaking vaguely of random people who want to be just paid for their existence. I don't know who those people are, but I think if you offered technological training, physical training, school training, all of that kind of stuff for people that could actually afford to go to school, they would go. That's generally what most people want to do. Dank Tank says, AKA dealing with assholes all day. That's pretty much how most jobs in the U.S. are these days. My son, Big D Smoke, says, my son didn't work until he graduated from high school. Matter of fact, the job he works now is the first job he ever applied for. That's right. Big D Smoke's kid is an awesome kid too, by the way. And he's working a job now that he's done with high school. And it's super weird. It's a super weird carryover of like the Depression era that the kids are supposed to work. It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre. Freshwater Ichthyology says, on overpopulated topics, it is difficult. Eugenics comes in, and who do you cross out? And if it is those that are different, those people often create the next technological advancements. That's right. And eugenics has way too much history in the United States to realistically have a conversation about it and not realize that, oh, the United States has been a mess for a really long time. With the raise of maybe $0.25 an hour, which is way below the cost of a living raise. That's right. Ginger is a pharmacist whose standard of living has been going down for the last 15 years. I have a salary cap. It doesn't matter what I do, amazing or subpar. My eval is always going to be average. Yeah, it's really one of those. It's one of those weird things that you end up with. Certain positions end up getting capped out because they just don't want to. They don't want to expand people's wages, and it's unfortunate. Mikey Fishy says, there's a reason I'm in a union. That's right. Unions have been basically disappearing from the United States. And like one of the examples I brought up with the disbanding of the unions, there are basically no pensions anymore in the United States. Somebody go look up what's the percentage of jobs in the United States that have a pension? And I'm not talking about a 401k retirement, because a 401k retirement is tied to the, what's that? The stock exchange, the thing that most people in the United States aren't invested in at all. Which, by the way, has to do with Reaganomics. If you go back and look it up, Ronald Reagan introduced that, who brought that in and started to dismantle pensions, unions, all that kind of stuff. You can actually look up when he went up against the the Air Traffic Controllers Union. The president of the United States went up against a union. You can go look that up if you like. Freshwater Ichthyology says American universities are way too expensive. Our tuition is air quote free, but master's is limited in the UK. My master's cost £1,200 for a vital science skill. UK government only pays £10,000. £12,000. I'm confused. My master's costs £1,200 for a vital science skill. UK government only pays £10,000. I'm confused by that. Maybe rephrase what your statement is, but I will say this. I definitely have looked into a lot of systems in around the world, and the UK and countries within the EU actually have very what's the word that I'm looking for? I haven't had enough schooling to know all of the words. Very favorable economic, I guess, program for young people to go to school and actually get trained and be knowledgeable in a subject. Ray's other Elon Musk thing was Starlink. Yes, we already have satellites invented. Those were already invented. I don't know if anybody's aware that satellites were invented. Wi-Fi was invented. 5G was already invented. Yeah. Wasn't invented by them. So Ray's actually from the UK because he's posting his student debt in pounds. So it gives us an idea of what's going on. He says, I worked hard at school and university, become a medical microbiologist, which has enabled me to have a standard of living that I have. I left university with over £20,000 in student debt. Right. You also have, I don't know, state-funded health insurance the whole time while you were there. Right? The whole time you've had health insurance. That whole time. If you're in the UK, if you're in the EU, whatnot, I mean, you have medical insurance provided to you by the government, right? You have a ton of social programs that we do not have in the United States. You are, you'd be comparing apples and oranges, which we don't try to do. That. The government pays £10,000 of that. Oh, so they paid £10,000 of the £12,000. So you were on the hook for £12,000 or for £2,000, right? Is that correct? So, yeah, I mean, let's see if you went for a master's degree, typically, let's see, debt. Let's see, average debt for American student after master's degree. Average school loan debt for an American that has reached a master's degree is $84,000 in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that isn't worth it. That could definitely be worth it, depending on where you went, the kinds of connections that you made, this and that and the other thing, whatever skill that you learned and whatnot. I think I'm honestly a proponent of allowing kids to be essentially sponsored to continue to go to school for an extra 4 years after high school. That's just basically, and maybe it would be 2-year program or something like that. Maybe you want to become a plumber. Maybe you want to become an electrician. Maybe you want to become a car mechanic. Maybe you want to become something that is literally not supposed to be an air quote educated position, but we're talking about skilled technical workers. You definitely would want those people to have more knowledge and ability within their field, and I think that state funding those kinds of programs so that we would be able to continue that a larger portion of our workforce to be trained, that would be very important moving forward as a society, right? Yeah. Ray Perrette says, it's not free per se. Every wage earner pays a contribution to enable free health care for all. Yes, I got it. But, some people are on the dole out there, right? So obviously it's not free per se. But yes, your taxes pay for it. That's how taxes work. Taxes contribute to a larger program paid in small amounts via each individual person. And yes, it's not free. True. Not free per se, if you want to per se. But yeah. But you did have health insurance the whole entire time. Whereas in the United States, you likely would have to be paying probably $500 a month, between $350 and $500 a month to have health insurance. So if you weren't working in that amount of time, you should probably figure out how to do that, and then you just would have no health insurance. Mikey Fishy says, man, I would much rather my taxes go to health care for everyone than, say, an F-35. Now, the F-35 program, because I got it, I was actually in a bunch of debates and I did a bunch of research about the F-35 program because it has been a large amount of money spent on the F-35 program. But one of the big things about the F-35 program that gets sort of ignored would be things like Elon Musk program. A lot of the technology that Elon Musk utilizes was developed through programs like the F-35 program, where they try to figure out how this helmet is going to work. That was one of the examples that was utilized. Was the F-35 has this insanely technologically advanced helmet that you have to wear when you fly it around. So if you guys don't know what the F-35 is, the United States decided to very kind of stupidly redo all of the airplanes within the military and try to make just one plane do everything, right? So instead of having an F-18 or having a bomber plane or a missile plane or whatever, to have a whole bunch of different planes that do different stuff, they said, screw that. We want to have one plane that can do everything really good, which I don't know if you guys have ever used a multi-tool before, but that doesn't work out. That doesn't work out when it comes time to implement the tool that does everything really well all at the same time. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work out that way. But the helmet, for instance, has so much technology in it to be able to fly that plane around, and a bunch of companies have been able to take that technology and adapt it to do a bunch of positive things with. So in a project like the F-35, it's very easy to go, wow, we spent a ton of money. But you have to kind of look at the peripheral technology that was passed on that makes its way from, the military and the government programs, that makes its way down to the civilian programs, because then there will be a company that's like, oh, we reproduce this screen that gets sold because it works really well in cell phones or something, and now we're doing really well and we've got 800 employees and we're making this screen for the cell phone things that we got from the plane, blah, 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 blah. So there are a lot of peripheral benefits to doing that stuff, and the parallel to that with the health stuff would be that we often talk about how medical advancements are developed in the United States by government programs and stuff. So they never really equate to treatments, but they're this research that's sort of stage one research, right? Of like, we've got to find all this information, and then these civilian pharmaceutical companies go, okay, how do we make a therapy from that research that can then get passed on to actually treat issues in people and stuff like that. And it's the same kind of thing with the F-35s, that a lot of technology came out of that. So it would take a ton of time to really calculate what that was, what that really was realistically, if it was a total waste or if it was not. But people like to bring up the new space programs that are out there and stuff like that. It definitely would not. It definitely would not encounter being only a waste of money, is basically what it boils down to. Currently, right now, I think education, health, and infrastructure are what we should be spending the lion's share of our money on. I do think we should still spend money on foreign aid. We should be spending more money on our military when it comes to actually doing foreign aid instead of occupying space and stuff like that. But we do need to continue to operate around the world realistically when you get down to it, because of all of the aid that needs to be done, which right now with a pandemic, it's like, can we utilize our military to like move around surplus vaccinations to get people vaccinated and stuff like that? And that, to me, would be more important right now than other stuff. Freshwater Ichthyology says, in the UK, dentistry isn't covered entirely. I think dentistry saves a lot of people, needs to be considered more. Dentistry is not covered here at all. You don't have that at all. It's not something that you really get. Children's dentistry is partially covered because they're children. But not really, like orthodontics, like you want to get your teeth straight and stuff like that. Nope. Michael Bublau. I like to say Bublau. I know I say his name wrong, and it makes him laugh. So I will continue to say his name wrong, because I know somewhere on this Earth planet, Michael Bublau is laughing and having a chuckle, and that makes me happier than sad. Says Elon Musk is basically the biggest welfare queen in the world. The investment money for his projects come from government subsidies, and then he profits. Yep, perfect. I couldn't have said it better. So thank you, Michael. I got the biggest cost of living raise I've had since I've been retired last year, and they said it'll be a little more this year. That's crazy for Big D Smoke, but hey, that's good to hear that actually something's going up. Richard McCarthy says, read the F-35. I'm basically a pacifist and a pretty darn critical of U.S. foreign policy, but having the world's only super military has a lot of economic advantages for America beyond trickle-down tech. That's true. We do need to continue to have solid relationships with all of our allies out there, and continue to work to basically strengthen our supply chain, strengthen our ability to economically move forward without leaving people behind, because that's my biggest concern. I don't want to continue having people getting left behind, and just when we know we actually have the technology now to not leave people behind. That's like my goal, Ginger says, my brother-in-law is a teacher at the top private school in Montgomery, Alabama. His take-home pay is less now than last year because his raise was less than the increase in his health insurance. Oh, that's rough. Not sure what's going on in Alabama, but almost every time I research something going on in Alabama, I pretty much just end up shaking my head and feeling bad about society. Wesley's Fish Club says the F-35 was meant as an export version of the F-22 Raptor. It'll be cheaper to develop a new plane than restarting production of the F-22. True. Yeah. Yeah. I think you summarized it pretty well, but there's a lot of waste in research projects. That's just the reality. And I've mentioned it before. I know that we have 82 members, which is amazing, and we have 182 patrons. 79. I have to re-update the number there. We lost some patrons, guys. We lost some of the sponsors of the show. I don't know what happened to them. I didn't see a news report about it or anything like that. I want to give a big shout out to our YouTube members that re-upped. We have some people that had to re-up, probably because they're it realistically boils down to they probably had like a credit card or something like that expire or whatnot. Who knows? But it went down to 79, and then it went back up to 82 because Mary Page Flynn fixed whatever the payment was, or just something maybe was broken or whatever. Amy came back. It's Nature Man. It's It's Nature Man came back, and Clint McLaughlin came back, and Big Red came back. So we got people that are members and actually re-upping their membership. That's amazing. I appreciate it. And I've spoken about it before. I know that people want me to make a million YouTube videos every week, and I would love to be making content for you guys every moment and minute of the work week that I have. But as you guys know, I still have to work. I have a bunch of jobs that I got to do, and I appreciate these members. I appreciate these patrons. If we get to a point where I don't have to do other work, I will be able to make more content. And I hate putting things that way, but that's just where we're at. That's just the reality of the world. And I'm going to continue doing the best that I can to put out content. I actually have some kind of cool new project videos I'm sort of working on. I'm working on when I can, and which is good. I definitely am appreciative of that. I should be starting a new project coming up here, I believe, on Monday. I think I do script review on Monday, I think. I have to look at my calendar here. I think it's Monday the 7th. I think that's what it said. Yeah, Monday the 7th. Tentative script review, I think. So it says that it's tentative, so who knows what that means, but pretty exciting project that involves probably about 20 people. So we shall see how it goes. And we're going to do some script review and some rewrite on Monday. We'll see. Exciting times. I don't know if I'll be in front of the camera for that one, though. So if you guys are expecting my face to be in it, I might not be in it. I might just be doing the filming and sound production, as far as I know. Uh-oh, I made all the screens go away. I got to pick this up and wiggle it around. Oh, that didn't work. Where'd my screens go? Give me my screens back. There. And this one went away, too. It's a weird thing that Windows does now. If you wiggle something around that you're holding on to, it makes all the other screens close. There we go. And I happen to do that from time to time while I'm live on the internet. It's just very, very fancy. Yeah, okay. Let's check over with the Twitch. Is anybody on Twitch? PipeX is the only person that said hi on the Twitch channel. All right. Well, there we go. I want to do stream on Twitch sometimes. And I figured, well, why not today? So we're just doing it today over there, too. Why not? Doesn't really have anything to do with that platform, but that's what we're up to. That's what we're up to right now. Let's see. Where did this window go? Let's click that. Okay, there we go. But yeah, if you want to become a patron or any of that kind of stuff, feel free. I very much appreciate it. Like I said, like the more patrons and members that we get, the more that more time I'll be able to work on fish tank projects. I was supposed to break down an aquarium today, and I didn't even get to do it. What? No face? I might just be filming and doing the sound on that project. Anyone know who has been recruited as community manager at the Coop? I don't know what that means. What's a community manager? I don't know what that question is about. Oh, don't get me started on the disappearance of unions. Literally nothing has hurt workers more. Yeah, that's basically how it goes. Yeah. Okay. Did we catch up? I'm going to scroll back in the chat and see if I missed any comments. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Chevy Fish, I accidentally clipped my solar pump wire in two while clipping the rose bush. Oops. That is a oops. That is an oopsie doopsie right there. Don't clip your solar pump wire. You're going to need that. Do. Richard McCarthy says, I actually got footage munching on 2 clutches of ramshorn snails that were stuck to the glass. What happened here? I've seen my coolie loaches eating snail eggs. I don't know why. All conditions are spot on. I guess those are the unluckiest snails for miles. Kahuli loaches, to the best of my knowledge, will love to eat snail eggs. That seems like normal behavior. James Case said, "Hi all, home from work. What did I miss? I don't know. This show is just rambling nonsense. That's basically how it goes when I don't have a solid topic. We'll just talk about whatever, and then I kind of react to the chat and see what you guys say and give you guys my opinion. It's all basically my opinion, more than anything else." Janice Lundberg says, "How is the kitchen remodel going?" It's going quite well. We're in the... If there's 4 stages, we're in like stage 3. We're waiting on flooring. Flooring is supposed to be delivered today. We have no idea. We have no idea what is going on with the flooring. It's somewhere. Our flooring is somewhere, and we'll figure it out. It will arrive, and then we'll start doing the flooring. Tuesday, the countertops go in. And then after that, it's all downhill. It's all, door frames and trim and tile work. We got to do all that tile work. So, yeah, we're sort of 3. We're at stage 3 of 4, basically. But it's going quite well. We like the layout. We like where everything is. The one big snafu that we have right now is that the fridge was brought into the building via our gigantic front door, and it's in the dining room, and there's no path that it will fit to get from the dining room into the kitchen. It won't get into the kitchen. Yeah. Big D Smokes is talking about Candy. I know she moved to Washington. Did Candy move to Washington? I didn't know that. Northwest Aquahabi, what are you working on? Remodel, addition. So we took out a bunch of walls in the kitchen. It's a full remodel in our kitchen that we're working on. Daniel Velez, how's the construction coming along, if I may ask? Well, I think I was talking about that, but it's coming along quite well. The hot water heater's done. The air conditioner unit is done. The stove is in. The subfloor is done. Replumbing the house is done. Electrical work is done. I have to run like a water feed line for the fridge, for the ice maker in the fridge. Other than that, everything plumbing-wise is done. All the holes are cut and the wall frames are in and stuff like that. I just need to run the line up, cut it, connect it, and then put the T's in for it. So that's kind of like one of those weird little projects that'll just wait until one day I'm like, oh, got to finish that, and then I'll go do it. All of the electrical, so all the lights are done, outlets are done. Yeah, so it's moving right along. It's not really that big of a deal. Nice. We have a kitchen remodel ahead. For now, we rock the 70s vibe. Yeah, ours was remodeled in 1947. The cabinets were put in. I found that out because there's a whole bunch of like 1947 stuff written on it when we ripped it out. So clearly it's not the original, but didn't really meet the needs of somebody in the 21st century. But we do have a dishwasher that is going to be freaking amazing. I'm probably just going to lose my mind about being able to something to do with moving the dishwasher. I'm going to be freaking out about the dishwasher. So yeah. Yep, her family moved her Her family moved here, something to do with working at the coop. She said she was still moving in last week. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that they had moved out here. I know that some other people were planning on moving out here, but I don't know. I didn't know that they moved here. But that's cool. I'm glad to hear that they had an opportunity to move out here. That's cool. Let's see. I got the biggest cost of Matthew Romero says the show is 100% Joel's brain unfiltered, but that's the point, yes? It's pretty much the point, yeah. I mean, that's why I title it the way I do, that it's literally... I try to make sure that people don't get the wrong impression by my title. You know what I mean? I don't want to leave anybody in a clickbait situation where they'd be like, oh, I showed up and I thought you were going to talk about tilapia. And I'm like, I talked about it earlier and you just showed up and then now you're upset. Because I know that, like, the reality is that a lot of the people that follow my channel are, like, hyper-focused on aquariums, which my life is hyper-focused on aquariums, so I understand that standpoint. But I do have a tendency to just talk to the chat on whatever's going on because I would have never known what was happening June 4th in 2021. So I do try to keep it like that. And if I title it like all about shrimp and then I end up talking about something else because the chat's asking me a question, people have a tendency to get super mad and then they start yelling and they leave in a huff. And, you know, it's like, well, I don't know. The show's like an hour and a half long for you to just walk in at the moment when I was talking about, you know, specifically tilapia or something. Yeah. Richard McCarthy says your titles are clickbait proof. I really appreciate it. That's right. Yeah. Measure twice, cut once, and leave a fridge in the dining room. It's a shorter distance to the soda. Well, no, it's just the hole for the fridge is perfect. It's perfectly sized. It'll slide right in there. The water's in there, the power's in there, all that stuff. The one downside is it got delivered to the front of the house, so now it has to go all the way around outside and up into the back door. You know what I'm saying? So that will happen once I have help here to do it. I don't know that I want Vicky Toria to be on the other end of trying to move that fridge because it is a very big, very heavy fridge. And so when the people that are coming to help do the flooring and the tile, when they come, we'll all do it as a group and we'll move it then. Because we're going to have to take some doors off of the hinges and all that kind of stuff. So it would be better to have like more hands. Everybody knows what's going on. Pay attention to go ahead and move heavy stuff and get it done. You know? So, yeah, that's the plan with that. It's just a really big fridge. And we didn't go with with what's called a counter depth fridge. They're shorter front to back. So like counter depth fridge. I can't remember how deep they are. Counter depth versus standard depth. Here we go. Counter depth refrigerators tend to be shallower than standard depth, but generally will be wider or taller. Units are typically 23 to 27 inches deep. The shallower depth makes it easier to grab items near the back of the fridge and provides a blended look with its surroundings. So our fridge doesn't really line up with any of the counter because it's sort of over by itself. And then we put this small little countertop next to it with a cabinet where I keep all my coffee. So it's my little coffee station is what it's called. It's referred to by everybody as the coffee station, which feels weird. It's a weird vibe. It's a weird feeling of vibe to have, of calling a thing in my kitchen the coffee station, but that seems to be the name of it at this point. And so we ended up going with a standard depth fridge because when we were shopping for that fridge, it was like Well, standard depth and counter depth are basically the same price, right? I think if it was $2,000 for a counter depth fridge, it was like $2,200 for a standard depth fridge or something like that. It was very innocuous, like 10% price difference. But if I'm recalling the numbers correctly, like the counter depth fridge was like 19 square feet, and the standard depth fridge was like 25 square feet, right? So I think overall it was like 5.7% more square footage of storage area. And because we weren't beholden to a specific space, it was like it would be much better for us to choose extra square footage in a fridge that we were already going to be powering in a certain way. And here comes Victoria. Hi. Do you need to speak to me in private?
No.
You have that look about you like, I need to talk to you about something serious.
No.
You want to have a serious discussion?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
No, we're okay.
I got to turn your mic on. What are you talking about?
We're good.
Where's your level?
I don't know. Am I on the level?
I think you're on the level. I think I have it set so that your audio works now for sure. What's up, babe? How you
Check,
doing?
check,
Welcome
mic.
to the show,
Check,
everyone.
mic.
Welcome to the show, Victoria.
Hello.
What's up?
I just had to step away from my desk for a little while
Uh-huh.
to contemplate things. Heard back from the flooring people.
Uh-huh. This sounds like really bad news is about to come out, falling out of your mouth.
Well, I noticed that you were talking about appliances.
Uh-huh.
And I know that we can't install appliances until the floor is in. I find it quite ironic that we went from being able to wash dishes in our kitchen sink with a place to like dry them to now we're in a utility sink with a dish drainer on a precariously perched on a TV tray. It's ironic to me. We have a dishwasher sitting in our dining room.
Well, after Tuesday, we'll have 2 sinks
Well, yeah.
with a disposal.
That'll be nice. That'll be an improvement on our current situation.
Uh-huh. We're waiting on the countertops.
We'll still have a dishwasher sitting in our dining room that we can't use.
The dishwasher?
The dishwasher.
Well, I mean, I'm going to install the dishwasher.
Oh. I thought that wasn't going in until the floors were in.
Well, the thing is, I'll likely will install the dishwasher with shims underneath the feet
Oh.
that are the width of the flooring.
I think we might need to do that.
Where's our flooring? Just quit dragging it out, man. This isn't a drama show. This is not, folks, this is not a dramatic drama show, okay? This is a comedy show
Oh.
with farts and poops.
Well, Tim
Okay.
from the company that will remain nameless. Tim said that they're not shipping until the 16th.
They're not shipping until the 16th of June or July or
Well,
September or what?
that's a good point. I should go double check that it actually said June and not July.
Do you think I can legally attack this person physically and it'd be okay at this point? No, I'm just
Well,
kidding. I'm literally joking.
I know,
I'm
but
literally joking.
based on the, based on the way that they approach their communications and that they don't communicate at all
Uh-huh.
unless provoked,
Right.
as in like, I paid for your product, where is it?
Right.
I'm guessing as sheepish as they are, probably wouldn't do well in a confrontation.
So our flooring doesn't even so it's supposed to be here yesterday.
Today. It was supposed to be here today.
Oh, today, not yesterday.
A minute. What did I say?
The 3rd, right? It was supposed to be here
Oh,
on
yeah.
the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And that's yesterday because today's the 4th.
And then, yeah, so Tim said it was supposed to ship today in his reply email. And I was like, I was told it was supposed to be here, it was supposed to ship, apparently, but now it's not shipping until the 16th. And you're right, I should probably double check and see if it says June or July on it, because God only knows. Maybe if I email Tim again, he'll be like, oh, did I say June? I meant July of 2022.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I meant June 2022.
It's like we're like doing the cha-cha.
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah, we're doing the cha-cha with these
That's the
idiots.
cha-cha, right?
Is that the cha-cha? I don't know if that's the cha-cha. It sounds like something. I don't know.
Yeah. I felt like we got a big win.
Paula Abdul, I
I
think.
felt like we got a big win on the vehicle today.
2 steps forward
mean-
and 1 step back. I mean, that's if it checks out and everything's okay.
I feel like we got a win on the vehicle today, if winning is like finding, after much turmoil and hemming and hawing about the fact that the vehicles seem to go up exponentially every year.
Every day.
I mean, I bought my car for 20 grand with all the bells and
Okay.
whistles, gap insurance, blah, blah, blah.
We still,
But
you still have to put the clarity on there that it had to tow, so it had to be at least a half ton,
know.
a bigger truck. Oh, I'm just saying. Then it had to have the 4 doors instead of the super cab, because that
I'm not
raised it up.
I'm not trying to put a baby in a car seat.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we had things that made it difficult to shop for,
Right.
that we required,
Well, true.
because it puts it in the higher end monetarily.
True, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
but-
if you have a standard cab of the truck we bought today, I don't even know if we really want to mention it, but I think it's only like 29,000 brand new with the
Well,
standard cab.
I don't
But
know.
we can't
Anyway.
put the baby in a standard cab. It's just not going to happen.
No, you can't.
So
So,
we wanted a van. What we really wanted was a van that would tow.
but
the
they
trailer.
don't unless you put.
They make
aftermarkets.
one, but it's $90,000, and that's
Well,
just
yeah, there's
ridiculous.
that.
Yeah.
So I felt like we got a win with the truck today, because it did end up being everything a little bit more than, because we ended up with a V6,
V8.
V8. Sorry, V8. We ended up with a V8.
Right. It was slightly more than we initially wanted to spend. Wasn't that much, though. Not
right,
crazy,
but after comparing, I mean, it came in at what we wanted in terms of like walking out the door and the monthly payment that we wanted for the time, like
Yeah,
the
that's
length
true.
of the loan.
That's true.
So I felt like that was a win today. But then this whole I can't imagine working as a contractor, honestly, because I would have a really hard time with putting the money out for a product that's not showing up, and customers that are upset to no fault of our own. Like,
Well, that's the issue.
But
Is
if-
like I always try to tell people, like you don't really start a project until all the materials have landed. Like big
Yeah.
companies won't start a project until all the product is in.
well, I
And
can
you know,
see
the
why.
thing is that like big companies have the ability to do that.
Right.
Right.
Well, and they
Big
have
companies
places to
can be
store
like,
it.
"Oh, we'll just do a bunch of other jobs while we wait for that thing to show up, and then just let people that know before we even start anything there that we're waiting on product, like it hasn't showed up yet." So that's the letdown. That's normally the letdown from a big
Yeah.
company. Now, if you're a small company, that's like one of the big issues is that like, well, I can't just wait around for this. I had booked this job for this 3-week month period, right? And that's always the problem with the smaller company. That's the stuff I've run into is like, well, yeah, I wanted to put in that thing for you, but that thing that's like normally at the store, like it's just not there. Like they just don't have it
Yeah.
for some reason,
Yeah,
and
I
now they
think-
got to order it, and it's 6 weeks away or something.
Yeah, like based on how things are going, with supply chains and stuff like that, I think we're probably done with projects for a little while. Cost of lumber.
I don't know. I mean, I would always like to say that we somehow have gotten to the end of our projects, but it just seems like we never are. We never are at the end of our projects. It's always like walk out on the front deck,
Well-
and it's like, oh, why is this wood chipping out here? Like, oh my God, we might need to redo the front deck. Ah,
Right. But
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's okay, but
yeah, it's
know.
okay. I mean, we all know if we've if we're conscious in our life that like the to-do list never ends. Like the to-do list never goes. You take one thing off, you got 5 things that get added at the bottom. That's just the way it is. But I think honestly that we're done with like home improvement projects above like, I'm thinking about taking out the apple tree because it's a pain in the butt.
Right.
But building stuff or like I can't. The next project I think may be the greenhouse or the back porch, but I don't know when we're considering doing that because I don't think we're going to be able to do a wood greenhouse based on prices. I think it's going to be cheaper to buy a kit at this point in time than it is to get wood for a greenhouse. We definitely won't be able to do like wood decking. We'll have to do like composite decking if we're going to do the back porch, which is probably smarter in the long run, but I just don't, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I don't want to push any projects, like any major projects for the house until like supply and demand, like calm down. 'Cause this has just been,
Well, we'll figure it out.
it's not a nightmare. Let me clarify, because it's not a nightmare like our project. Like everything has gone great. Like I don't feel like I've been stressed out about the kitchen at all. Like it's stressful to have your house be in disarray
Oh, okay.
because it affects me. I'm one of those people, like when I move into a new place, it takes me like 3 to 6 months to get acclimated and get back to like a regular routine where I'm like, I can wake up half awake and get to the coffee and survive my day without feeling like I forgot something or whatever, or it took me an extra half hour to get ready because I didn't know where things were. Having the house in disarray is stressful, but the project itself has not been stressful. Like I like how it's turned out, and I like, all the pieces that we have in place and everything. I think it's going to turn out fabulous in the long run, but don't like having a dishwasher in my dining room or stressing about a refrigerator that won't fit through any of our doors but the front door.
Yeah.
So there's all of that. But
True.
I know that we'll do it and it'll come together and that'll be fine.
Yeah.
A year from now, and this is how I always quantify things. A year from now, it's not going to we'll look back and go, gosh, I'm so glad we did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think about that in perspective with lots of things. Like, when they launch new software or programs at work, I'm like, a year from now, this isn't going to be like, this will be like second nature. And it'll be like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I try and put those things into perspective, but
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the thing is, like, once it's all done, we'll both be totally happy with it. Like, everything's going pretty well. It's pretty stupid that the flooring is on delay, but
and it's
what are you gonna do? Like,
and
I literally
it's
am
the only project. It's the only product out there that's everything that we want it to be. The only one.
It's everything that Vicky wants it to be, so that's it. It's the jammer.
Well, I don't think that.
So we will have to make a decision. We'll have to call some of our helpers and figure out what we're gonna do, and schedule that. But I think the reality is, like, the countertops are going in on Tuesday. If we can install all the appliances and work on the backsplash, like all the backsplash tile and all that stuff needs to get done. And once that's done, we'll basically would have a functional kitchen with a subfloor for a little while, which, it's not the worst thing or anything like that.
Yeah, I just don't see, I've thought about, gosh, could we put different flooring in there? But that product, the only other stuff that they make is fake wood.
The same company?
No, in luxury vinyl tile or vinyl plank. That's the only, they only make wood print.
Who?
Products. Any of them. I discussed this with Brad last time he was here. I was like, what if we go with a different product? And the stuff that we were looking at before was vinyl.
Right.
Sheet. It wasn't plank or board or tile. So the other product that we were looking at would be like putting a vinyl floor in our kitchen, which I don't think either one of us would be happy with that.
No.
So, and I don't want to put in tile because we have a 2-year-old, and I know what our wood floor looked like since we refinished it. Like, I can't count how many times I've dropped pots and pans on the floor, or like, you know, like things have fallen over. Like, we for sure would have busted tiles in our kitchen if we had tile flooring right now. So I don't think tile is a go.
We're tiling it. That's it, folks. We're going to tile it. It's going down.
I might cry.
In the club. It's going down. Smil Kapoor just showed up. What's up? Zip Gun's here. Never-ending fight against entropy until it wins. That's right. Oh, yeah. Big D Smoke is in the process of applying for the pensioner's visa so you can move to Panama. Are you excited?
Nice. Hey, Big D. Nice.
Big Dennis is moving to Panama. We're going to have a Panamanian
Well, that just sounds like fun.
place to visit now. We're going to go over and crash at Dennis's place in Panama.
Nice.
Okay, I'm tired, so
No.
that's the end of the show. There was no super chat. That's right, there was. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a fun time doing whatever it is that you all are doing. Bye-bye.
Perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe. A perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe.
Nothing out there could ever stop me from chasing after the way you love me.